Hey everyone, Dr. Enrico Dolcecore here from Full Life Chiropractic. Today's topic, 2,000 calorie diet, WTF. So where did this 2,000 calorie diet come from? Where does this number come from? Well, in 1990, our wonderful Food and Drug Administration came down with a bill passing that labels foods will be rounded to 2,000 calories as a stable number that's easy to calculate for most people in their diet. That's it. That's it, period. That's where they just thought a rounded number would be great for the American population to know that that's how much they should eat. Doesn't matter if you're 6 years old, if you're 96 years old, if you're 6'9" or 4'2". So I'm perplexed at that, and I always have been at why 2,000 calories is that. Also in 1990, the Congress passed the Labeling Act in November 1990, which was on how to label foods. And ever since then, you'd see that little white box on most boxes and containers showing you the 2,000 calorie diet, and then protein, carbs, fat, sodium, and then your beautiful percentage of daily allowance. What a joke this has been. And since 1990, we have seen a pandemic of obesity and poor nutrition just continue to happen. So really knowing our history helps. But then also, how do we calculate calories in a food? In the 40s, 50s, 60s, lab research on food, they would use a burner, a Bunsen burner, that they would know how much propane was being burnt or natural gas was being burnt at the moment, and they would time how fast food would combust. So literally they would take a banana, burn the banana, take an apple, burn the apple, take a piece of beef, burn the beef, and based on the time you would calculate how many calories were in that food in order for it to combust. Last time I checked, we have no combustion system in our stomach to burn food. There is no propane or natural gas or Bunsen burner anywhere in here that burns our food. We actually have a much more sophisticated way in our body on metabolizing the food that we eat instead of burning it. So when we use these terms like burn calories and burn fat, and it comes from all that research of using flame, fire, and food in a lab. And we need to change that, and you need to understand where food comes from, and you need to understand how we metabolize food, and it's much bigger than carbs, proteins, and fats. We are made up of micro and macronutrients, and the macronutrients are proteins, fats, and carbs. We are complete, our entire body is made up of this. So we are protein, fat, and carbs, eating protein, fat, and carbs. You are what you eat. That's where it all comes from. So you need that. And what we've done with processing our food is it's no longer protein, carbs, and fats. When you process fat into rancid oils, vegetable oils, canola oils, you cook them at high temperatures, you break all the fatty chains. They no longer are recognizable in the body. And these are called trans fats. And what ends up happening is your body doesn't know how to utilize that. That's one example with fats. But what happens when you process carbohydrates? Wheat, flours, grains, nuts, powders, starches, and you put that into the food. We also don't know how to metabolize that either, because it's not food. It's not combustible. It's not processable in the body. So that is what's going on with the industry. Is we've created food that's not nutritious, and we're labeling it and we're confusing people. Really, in Europe, they don't have the white box label on most of the food because it never passed in Europe. And that's because you're supposed to read the ingredients. And when you flip boxes over, there's a lot of ingredients. And I think that was more of a distraction from the ingredients, so people wouldn't see red 40 and dyes and big long mono dextrose and all these other huge names that are in the chemicals that are in our foods, and distract them to that little white box saying, oh, this is only 540 calories, or this salad dressing is only 35 calories. And it's really distracted us from understanding what food is. So this 2,000 calorie thing is hogwash. Stop basing your diet on that. I see people coming in with meal plans and exercise plans based on calories. They're like, I'm going to eat, between 16 and 1900 calories. I'm like, why? Where does that come from, and how does that benefit you by eating 1700 calories today instead of 2200 calories today, or only eating 9? And people come in like, oh, I'm doing a diet that's only 800 calories. Is that okay? I'm like, well, it depends on how you feel and what's the goal. Why are you only eating 800 calories? It all depends on where we're at with what our goals are. If it's to lose weight, eat less. If it's to gain muscle and because you're working out at the gym, or you're joining an athletic team, or you're trying to progress in athletics, or just trying to bodybuild, whatever it may be, you got to eat more. You can't have both. People come in, they're working out and eating too little. That's a recipe for disaster. That's metabolic demolition. If you want to completely fry your metabolism, eat less and go work out. That's one of the dumbest things we can do. So what we do in our office when we coach people is we take it way past a diet, or way past calories, or way past losing weight. It's a lifestyle, and you do not need to count calories. The calorie thing makes no sense. Even counting carbohydrates and proteins, it's cumbersome, but it's a good learning tool to know what your body needs based on what you're doing. So the point of this video is just to educate people that really we've been bamboozled by government. Oh, go figure. Government bamboozled us. Yeah. They don't mean to. It's that they think we're all dumb, and they make things way too easy, and it confuses people. You have to say the truth. Some things are complicated, like metabolism and physiology and exercise. You can't just put a little white box and say carbohydrates, because when you look at these processed foods, you'll see like 200% of your recommended sodium intake on some of them. They add a lot of salt to it, and they have to say that because of the salt that they add to it. So a lot of processed foods will be 100%, 80%, 110% of your sodium intake, because they add a lot of salt to it. So because the system doesn't work, because that little box has to dictate what's in the food, but we're basing it on calories. So my advice for you, if you're watching this video to this point with all my rambling, is stop with the 2,000 calorie thing. Stop with the white box. If you turn something over in the grocery store and it has a lot of ingredients and you can't pronounce them, don't buy it, because a lot of those extra additives are not nutritious. They're not there for your nutrition or for your growth or for your health. They're there to preserve the food so it lasts on the shelf for a few weeks or a few months so that it can be sold at some point. And there's value to that, to try and feed 330 million Americans. Some food has to last on the shelves. I mean, we get it, but if you have the grace and the blessings to go out and buy whole foods, I highly recommend that. So looking at food from a different perspective, and this 2,000 calorie thing, drop it. If you feel good eating 900 calories, your energy is good, you make it through the day, you sleep well, you're maintaining your weight, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're working out and you're eating 3,000 calories a day, and you're not gaining, you're not gaining fat, and you're gaining muscle, and you're doing well, and your endurance is doing well, then you're doing something right. That's great. That works out well too. So it all depends on our goals. But truly, this is an oversimplification of things. But if we're trying to lose weight, body fat, you eat less. And if we're trying to gain weight, I don't know why anyone would want to gain weight. I mean, I guess in the gym, if you're 21 years old, male, and you want to gain weight, okay, then you would eat more, and we go through that. But that's the value that we bring to our clients, is we sit down one-on-one and we coach them on text and phone on how to eat moving forward. And this leads us into our exciting program moving forward as we are constructing our new office and have more coaching and more accessibility to doctors and more doctors, is that we're going to have anyone that does our weight loss program or our coaching program will have 2 years membership at our office for monthly check-ins, one-on-one or phone call, where you can come in, check out your biocomposition on our scale, utilize our low-level light therapy if you'd like to use the red light machine, all included in there for a simple monthly membership where you can come in and do that. So we'll introduce that to everyone, because the research shows that if you can lose weight and maintain that weight for 2+ years, you will successfully keep the weight off for the rest of your life. Most people fail within 12 months of losing weight. So that goes there. I hope you learned something cool today. That little white box has always perplexed me since I was a kid. It just didn't make sense when I was going through physiology and exercise physiology classes in my undergrad. I was just like, it just doesn't make sense, because when I used to play football and I was growing, there was days I ate 6,000 calories. I mean, I was 17 years old, 2 practices a day, some hockey, phys ed class, physical education, and then being a student, super active, and then worked all night, whatever it was that I did. And it was okay at that point. But if I continued eating like that and decreased my activity, well, then the weight was starting to come back on. So there's different, the numbers don't work. It's all about supplying your body with what it needs in the moment of what you need to do. So if you're working out, you have to eat food. You got to eat more. And if you're not, and you work at an office desk and you don't work out much, you have to eat less, and you have to eat smart, and you have to eat really clean. Because I always, a joke we say in the office is that if you eat 3,000 calories of processed foods and you try and eat 3,000 calories of vegetables and fruits, you'd be eating all day grazing on fruits and vegetables to try and get 3,000 calories, and you could probably eat, pizza and ice cream in one meal and have 3,000 calories. So it makes no sense. So we really have to teach the next generation on proper food habits. Otherwise, we're just going to continue going down the wrong path. It's already been 30 years. It's got to change. We're here for you. We always are here for you. Hope you enjoyed this long video on food, but take care, eat well.